We're going to make a working submarine model using these materials. So a wire hanger, some large rubber bands, a couple of small water bottles, and 2 regular sized soda bottles. You're also going to need these tools: a drill driver, a couple of bits, scissors, tape, and a couple of pliers would be helpful. The first thing we want to do is cut this bottle, and this will be the body of the submarine. So we need to be able to access the inside, so we're going to flatten the bottle. And then near the bottom, more than the middle, you want to be closer to the bottom. You'll cut a small starting hole, and then you unflatten the bottle, and now you can insert the scissor inside there and finish cutting all the way around. Okay, and you're going to reattach these 2 halves of the bottle later, so what's going to help you reattach these is cutting 4 notches in the bottle. So you basically just cut them north, south, west, and east. And you're going to want to do the same thing on the bottom. These notches will only be about 1/2 inch. Now for the propeller section, you're only going to want the very top of this bottle. So same deal, you flatten it out, cut a starting hole, and then you use that starting hole to cut all the way around. So this will be leftover pieces. You can use these leftover pieces to make fins for your submarine so that it'll swim more straight, or you can just recycle it, maybe make a planter out of it, but this piece you're not going to need anymore. So this top piece here will become the propeller. So to do this, this bottle already has markings on it. You're going to want to cut at about 30-degree angles. So you do not want to cut these straight. So an angle like that. And then because this one already has markings, I could just skip 2 of the designs and then cut that angle again. And then you should have kind of an odd shape like this, but you're not cutting straight, you're cutting at an angle. So I've highlighted where the cuts are so you can see them more clearly. Now you're going to want to fold these at about a 45-degree angle. Okay, now you can see that more clearly. So this is where I want to fold it. So I want to fold it low on that side and fold it in and then pinch it to make a good crease. And then same thing on the next propeller. 45-degree angles for every propeller. Okay, so now all of these have been folded in 45 degrees to make a sharp crease. Now I'm going to unfold them and fold them outward on the same crease, but this time folding them using the same crease, but folding them outside. And now you should have kind of this flower shape. So you can test this out. When you spin it, you should actually feel a slight draft of air when you spin it around. And that's how you know that it's facing the right way. But when you blow on it, it should catch air too. Okay, next you're going to need to use the wire hanger, and these pieces will be used to assemble everything and put it together. So I like to use pliers when I'm forming the wire hangers. So if I need to cut a piece off, I like to use these needle nose pliers and the sharp edge here, and then use my other set of pliers and just wiggle it back and forth until the metal gets fatigued, and then it'll just break right off. So the pieces of wire, this one is 7 inches, it's a straight piece, and then these two are about 1.5 inches. So you need 3 pieces of wire only. Now this part's a little tricky. You're going to want to go from this straight wire and use your pliers and bend it into this shape. So with a wide hook at the bottom and a tighter hook at the very top here. So making the top hook is pretty simple. I just use the needle nose pliers and I just bend the wire all the way around. And now I have a tight hook. Okay, so now I want to deal with this bottom hook. I'm just going to gently bend that one. Until I have basically this shape. Now this wider hook is going to hold the rubber band, and it needs to be wide so that it can be inserted into the bottle, into the bottom of the bottle like that. Okay, now we need to make a couple of holes. So this is a 1/8 inch drill bit. We're going to make a hole that goes all the way through the neck of the bottle, through to the other end. And we're using 1/8 of an inch because that's about how thick these wires are, and that will allow this to be pushed in here. And then we'll need a hole at the bottom of the bottle for the propeller assembly to go through. So we'll drill a hole right there. And then we'll also need another pin to hold the propeller on, and we'll drill that through the neck or through the screw holes of this bottle right here like that. Here's the hole in the neck of the bottle for the submarine body, and as you can see, the pin pushes through very easily and the rubber band's going to attach to that. And then for the propeller, I put that through the threads of the propeller, but it can also be done in the neck. And same thing, the screws are going to tie through that, and the hook of this is going to hook to the inside of that to attach the propeller to the rubber band. Oh, I did that backwards, this way. And I went up a drill size to the 9/64 for this hole so that this metal assembly would spin freely without any resistance, but also so that the hole wasn't so big that a lot of water would get in. And then I also made a large hole in the bottle cap. This size doesn't really matter as long as you don't destroy the cap. So to fit everything together, you're going to put the small end of the hook inside the propeller and then close that pin so it'll secure that rod in place. So the drive shaft is now in place. So it should now look like this, kind of like a flower with a stem on it. And then you're going to thread the cap over here, and this will help reduce the resistance on the propeller. And then finally you're going to take the large hook and you're going to thread that into the bottom of the bottle. So now you have this assembly. Now you're going to take one of these rubber bands, or you can use more or stronger rubber bands are good too, and you're going to put that into the cap or into the opening of the bottle. And then you're going to push this pin in so that it keeps the rubber band in place. So now you have the rubber band dangling out of this front side of the bottle. You can go ahead and cap this with your other cap. And that's why we put the hole on the neck of the bottle, not in the threads for the front. And now you have to hook the rubber band to the big hook that's in the bottom of the submarine, or the rear of the submarine. Okay, I had to do that off camera, it's just a little awkward. And now you're going to use those little grooves you cut in the bottle and help mate the two halves of the bottle together. And now this is the body of the submarine all assembled. So to wind the submarine, you just wind up the propeller. And then release it. It'll go a lot slower because there's water resistance in the water, so the propeller will spin slower, so the motor action will last longer. And that's basically the body of the submarine. So these two smaller bottles are going to be used for the ballast to balance your submarine, as well as to weigh it down so it doesn't just float to the top since it's empty. So you want to wrap these two bottles together and then give them a little twist. And then you're going to wrap a rubber band around these bottles and your main submarine body. And now you have a submarine that looks like this. So this would be a good time to add, maybe tape some fins to it so that it will swim more straight. And then these ballasts, you're going to want to put something heavy in here like rocks or bolts of metal. So some ballasts I made earlier. I use bolts because water itself won't be enough to weigh down the body of the submarine. And you want the inside of this to stay dry. So that's how the submarine looks so far, and we'll do a water test in the next video.